myself, Rahul Thakkar from LJ Institutes of Engineering and Technology. In the current video lecture series, we are studying subject of Physics Group 1. Till now, in the chapter of Properties of Matter, we have learned what is basics of stress, strain, concepts of elasticity along with derivation of time period of a torsional pendulum, work done in stretching a wire or a shaft, and torsional rigidity of cylinder for both solid and hollow cases. Also, we have derived an equation for depression of a cantilever beam loaded at the end. Now, in this video, we will learn the derivation of a depression of a cantilever beam loaded for uniformly distributed load. And also we will study the beam supported at the two ends and loaded at the middle. Okay. At the end, we will discuss the importance and the applications of the I-shaped girders. What are I-shaped girders, why I section is used, and what are the applications of it, and what advantages are offered by that, we will study in that chapter. Okay. So, but before moving further, let us understand what is uniformly distributed load and how its moment is calculated. Okay. So, first of all, let us go back to the previous video session. If you recall it, consider this. It is a cantilever beam right now. If the load is applied over here in this manner, consider this span to be a load, point load. If load W is applied over here, consider 1000. 1 kilonewton of load is applied over here. So it is a point load. Our previous case was like that. A cantilever beam fixed at one end and the load is acting on this end. So how we have calculated it? The load will apply some moment, that is load multiplied by perpendicular distance, and because of that the reaction will be obtained over here in this opposite direction. If load is acting downward over here, the reaction will be upward over here. So by balancing the reaction forces, we have reaction moments, we have calculated the case for the cantilever beam loaded at the end. Okay. Now, for the case of uniformly distributed load, this 1 kilonewton load is distributed uniformly on this entire beam, on this upper surface, like this. If the whole load is distributed for the entire length of the beam, and such a kind of load is known as a uniformly distributed load. So, if this length is 10 meter length, okay, so load per unit length, that will be 100 Newton load is acting per meter length, assuming this length to be 10 meter. So per unit length will be per unit load will be 100. Okay. Instead of 1 kilonewton point load, 100 Newton load is acting on this per meter length. 100 Newton per meter load is acting on this beam. We can say that. Okay. So such a kind of load is known as a uniformly distributed load. Then how to calculate moment for this condition? Whenever a uniformly load is applied over here on the entire surface or the entire length of the body, okay, or the beam. So how to calculate the moment? In the previous case, moment is considered to be load multiplied by perpendicular distance. Over here, the load is on entire length. So which length is to be considered and which load is to be considered? So total load is to be considered. Remember the thing. The total load, that is 100 multiplied by 10. So 1000, we have got back the total load. So total load multiplied by the center length is to be considered. Over here, that is L by 2 is considered. If the length is L, then this is now the equivalent load. Okay, for this uniformly distributed load, 100 Newton per meter length, 100 Newton per meter load is now equivalently converted into the total load. Okay, and the total load is assumed to be acting at the center position. Okay, so this L by 2, it will be acting at this L by 2 position. So it will be considered as the moment will be L by 2 multiplied by the total capital W. Clear? Let me repeat it once. The load acting only at one point is known as a point load. For that, the moment is calculated as load multiplied by perpendicular distance. The load distributed over the entire length is known as a uniformly distributed load. But for that, moment cannot be calculated directly because the length varies. Okay, so an equivalent load is calculated. The equivalent load will be equal to the total load. Okay, that is load per unit length multiplied by total length of the beam, and the length divided by 2 will be considered for the equivalent load point. Okay, so that L by 2 multiplied by W will give you the moment. Understand? So let's move further to the topic of cantilever beam loaded uniformly. Okay, so let us consider a cantilever beam as shown in figure, which is loaded uniformly. Okay, so uniformly loaded such that W is the weight per unit length. So in all, we have total weight is equals to capital W is equals to small w into L. Now, because of the load, it gets deflected. So after any length x, if we assume the deflection occurs, okay, the remaining length becomes L minus x. So let us think an arc PQ on which the load deflection is occurring. Okay, so for that, the weight x at a distance L minus x by 2 from the section PQ. Why we have taken L minus x by 2? Because on this segment, on this chord section, the total load will be W into L minus x, and we need to find out the moment. So for moment, we need a perpendicular distance, and over here the distance will be considered as L minus x by 2, as you can see in the figure. Look closely over there. I am writing it. So the bending moment about the section PQ will become load multiplied by perpendicular distance. We have load is equals to W into L minus x. Perpendicular distance is equals to L minus x by 2. On multiplying, we get W into L minus x whole square by 2. Now, moving further, the bending moment of the beam, we know the equation for the bending moment, that is y into Ig upon r, where y is the Young's modulus, Ig is the geometric moment of inertia, and r is the radius of curvature, as you can see in the figure. Now, in equilibrium, the two bending moments should balance each other. Okay, so Yig by r is equals to W into L minus x by 2 whole square. Now, looking closely to the figure, we have dx is equals to r d theta. That dx is the arc. Arc is equals to radius multiplied with the angle. So from this geometry, we have dx is equals to r d theta. So making the r as subject, r is equals to dx by d theta. In the previous equation, we want 1 upon r. So 1 upon r will become d theta by dx. So we get Yig into d theta by dx is equals to W into L minus x whole square by 2. So on making d theta as a subject, we get W into L minus x whole square dx by 2 Yig. Now, looking closely over here, we have dy is equals to L minus x d theta. Because of the deflection, consider this beam. Under the load, under the distribution, uniformly distributed load or a point load, whatever it is that, if it is bending, okay, if beam is bending because of the load, so it makes some angle. That angle is nothing but d theta angle. And over here there is a depression. Okay, previously it was like this, now it is like this. So this dy and this is d theta, this change in angle is d theta, and this length is L minus x. So we get dy is equals to L minus x, that is the length, radius into angle d theta. So dy is equals to L minus x d theta. Okay, so on placing the value of d theta in this equation, we get dy is equals to W into L minus x whole cube by 2 Yig into dx. Now on integrating we get WL raised to 4 upon 8yij. We are integrating from x equals to 0 to x equals to L. Remember this thing, we are integrating from x equals to 0 to x equals to L. So WL raised to 4 upon 8yij will be there. Okay. So this is the expression for the depression for cantilever beam uniformly loaded condition. So comparing to the cantilever loaded at one end, depression is less in uniformly loaded condition. In uniformly loaded condition, what was that? That was WL cube by 3yij. But in here we have WL cube by 8yij. So in uniformly loaded condition, the depression in a cantilever beam is less often. So that was for this topic. Now moving further to the next topic, that is depression of a cantilever loaded at the middle. And this cantilever is supported on two ends. Let us consider this thing. Over here it is supported on two supports. Okay, this is the beam and it is supported on two supports like this. Okay, so I will show you over here. This is one support and this is the another support, and the load is acting on this in the middle. Over here the load is acting at the middle. So this load W, consider this load W. Okay, so its reaction will be obtained as W by 2 over here and W by 2 over here. Consider this total length is L, so it is acting at a length L by 2. Okay, and this is the support. Okay, so the reaction force is obtained W by 2 and W by 2 at the supports in the opposite directions. So we can imagine this thing similarly as a cantilever beam supported at one end. Imagine this half, only the half of the section. Forget this remaining one. So cantilever beam supported at one end and loaded at the end. Previous first case, it looks like the first case. Cantilever beam loaded at the end. Okay, so this load now becomes W by 2 and length now becomes L by 2. So using the same equation for the rectangular beam, we can analyze this thing. So a cantilever beam of rectangular cross section is supported at two knives edge and loaded and loaded at a middle by weight W, as you can see in the figure. This is the same thing which I have explained you earlier. Now the load is acting downward. So reactions are obtained upward. So the reaction of the each of the knife edge is W by 2 and that acts at a distance L by 2. So depression of the middle point becomes each of middle point below each of the knife edge is given by y is equals to 4 W by 2 L by 2 whole cube by y BD cube. This is the same expression for depression of a cantilever beam for rectangular cross section loaded at the end, but it was like 4 W L cube by y BD cube. Now in here I have replaced W from W by 2 and L to L by 2 because length becomes half and load becomes half in this case. So our expression now becomes y is equals to W L cube by 4y BD cube. Now this is the same for rectangular cross section. Okay. Now for circular cross section it becomes y is equals to 4 W by 2 L by 2 whole cube upon 3y into pi r raised to 4. So this now becomes y is equals to W L cube upon 12y pi r raised to 4. This is simple mathematical calculation. Now this is for circular cross section. Okay, so that was all for the cantilever beams. Now thinking the section of a cantilever beam of I shape instead of rectangular, what benefits are obtained and how the benefits are obtained. Okay, so our next topic is I shaped girders. Girders are nothing but another name for the beams. Okay, So the girder with upper section broader and the middle section tapered so that it can withstand a heavy load over it is called as a I-shaped girders. Okay, we know that the depression Y in case of a rectangular cross section is given by 4WL cube by YBD cube. If Y is to be minimized, what things can be done? Look over here at the equation. We have Y is proportional to L cube, Y is inversely proportional to B, Y is inversely proportional to the D cube. Means on increasing the denominator, Y becomes smaller, and for the longer life of a beam, lesser the depression, the good thing. Okay. So in order to decrease Y, keeping the length same, depression is to be reduced by keeping the length same. What things can be done? So we can either increase B or increase D. But on increasing B, much effectiveness is not obtained. Whereas in case of D, by increasing depth, much effectiveness can be obtained. Okay, so that is the reason we are increasing the depth and reducing D in order to keep the volume constant. Okay, so since Y is inversely proportional to 3 power of the depth D, it is effective to increase D instead of D. So this is why the girders of rectangular cross section longer side is taken as the depth. Okay. So depression Y can be minimized by either decreasing the load W, but for the same load and length, this method is to be adopted. Now the applications of the I-shaped girders are, they are used in construction of bridges over the river. They are very much useful in production of iron nails which are used in railway tracks. They are used in supporting beams for ceiling in construction of the building. They are used in construction of dam. Now the advantages offered by these I-section girders are more stability, they are much more stronger, and high durability are there. Okay. So now in the next video we will learn about viscosity and its measurement by Ostwald's viscometer. Okay, that was all for today guys. Stay home, stay safe. Thanks for watching guys.